Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm your host, Amanda Lamb. Five on Your Side recently did a story about a fake hotel listing on Expedia that duped both the customers and the business that was located at the actual address, a law firm. As a follow-up, they decided to create their own fake hotel listing to see what would happen. Would the vetting process that the online platform has in place work this time? In this episode, reporter Keely Arthur joins us with what transpired. Keely, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So this is like reporter involvement to the max.
It really is. It is definitely the most personally involved I've ever been with a narrative arc of a story.
So first of all, just give us a brief overview of the first story so we understand what happened.
So in a nutshell, and it's a crazy one, so you're going to have to focus in. We were contacted by a paralegal at a law firm in Raleigh. She said that people had been showing up at their law firm saying, hey, I booked a hotel at this location. And she was like, no, I think you have it wrong. They showed her the listing, and it was on Expedia, I think hotels.com and Travelocity. And it was these fake or these pictures of a hotel rooms, and the location address was the law firm. So what she deduced was that scammers were posting this fake hotel on the Travelocity
and
site.
taking the money.
And people were booking and showing up. And then there was no recourse.
Hotel.
And Expedia it took a while for them to really get involved and take the site down.
So you guys decided, your team, okay, we're going to make a site ourselves. We're going to create this fake listing. On the site. And what happened? Tell me how you did it, first of all.
So Expedia, the first story, we went after Expedia said, what are you doing to make sure consumers are protected? Because I use those sites. A lot of people do. And they said, we have fraud protections in place. This is not a typical, not the norm. We're on it. We got a team to prevent this. And we wanted to test that because people were out money. And so we wanted to really see what the actual situation was. So I created, with my team, with the backing of the station, it's called WRAL Azalea Garden Hotel. It's a nod to the Azalea Garden that's at the station. And we used photos from a previous trip I went on in Maine of a hotel, and use the station address, use my real name, use the WRAL call letters in the listing, and said it was a hotel. And I went through, because anyone can post, kind of like an Airbnb or Vrbo, you can post on Expedia if you're a hotel.
Did you have to wait? Was there a waiting period?
Yeah, it was a process of a month. But Amanda, I think you know me. I try really hard on things. I had never phoned something in more. I didn't really post a lot of photos. I made it really obvious that this was not legitimate.
Not a real hotel.
Yeah, and I never hooked any payment information, of course, up. I really didn't do much. And within a month, but I wanted to keep going because I wanted to see when they were going to catch me.
Sure. Okay. And we'll hold that thought.
Okay,
hold that thought. We'll talk about that after the break. Welcome back to the WRAL Daily Download. Okay, so you left us on a cliffhanger. You listed this fake hotel, fake address. It was our address here at WRAL.
Yeah.
Did anybody fall for this?
So they did. And I write in the story, had Expedia checked the address, had they Googled the name of the hotel, had they done any background on who I was, had they called the number on the listing, my phone number, and it says, hello, you're reaching Keely Arthur with WRAL News, any of that, they would have realized it was fabricated. They didn't do any of that because within a month, the listing was live. Now, the moment it went live, I reached back out to Expedia and said, can you take this down? Because there was no way for me to do that on my own. I did not hear back from them. And in that time, in a 24-hour period, they had announced Dreamville, which is a very popular concert in Raleigh.
Somebody made a reservation. Okay, so you reached out to this person, obviously, to tell her, hey, this is what's going on. This isn't a real hotel. And by the way, it was part of a news story. What was her reaction?
She was definitely stunned. I want to be really clear that we didn't take any money, nothing. She had done a book now, pay later thing. And I called her, the day she had made the booking. And she was like, what? But she was a good sport and I think realized that there is a huge issue because I explained to her what had happened with the law firm and how easy it was for me to post this thing. And she was game to do an interview and talk about her experience. And on her end of things, it looked really, she said, legitimate. She said it had an address, it had pictures, like she didn't know, and it was on Expedia. So she thought, of course, it's been vetted and it's good.
Wow. And in your opinion, it would have been really easy, right, to prove that this was fake? I mean, like you said, call the number, check the address.
Check the address. Now, they didn't do any of that, but if you look at the listing is down now, but I have screenshots of it. They enhanced my listing. They said, conveniently located to NC State University, steps away from this restaurant and that. They didn't vet anything, but they punched up the listing.
Wow.
And they said that this is very, very rare, Amanda. But in the last 3 months, we have found this hotel and the hotel law firm. 2 hotels in Raleigh alone are fake on that website. So people need to be really careful.
I know you spoke to the North Carolina Restaurant and Lodging Association. What did they tell you about the situation?
Their advice was to really book directly with the hotel itself. And if you see a better price on Orbitz or Travelocity or wherever, call the hotel and say, hey, I see this amount on the third party, and normally the hotel will say, okay, we can give it to you for that. That was really their takeaway. They thought it was really funny and but also very concerning. And they said that they had heard this like fake listings. Of course, Vrbo, Airbnb were much more on guard, I think, as consumers and in the industry with those kinds of postings, but with these hotels,
because you're dealing with an individual
rather than a company,
a business.
Yeah,
sure. But again, you can impersonate a business just as easily as you can impersonate an individual, right?
Yeah, and it's a scammer's full-time job to take your money. So they are going to get really crafty. People that are smart get duped all the time.
That sounds like a PSA for Five on Your Side. It's a scammer's full-time job.
I say that all the time because
take your money. Yeah.
You just, I don't want to freak people out, but like these things happen all the time and they're getting crafty. And this was very crafty.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great job on this report. And sorry for the one woman that got duped, but hopefully she has found another hotel for her trip to North Carolina. This has been the WRAL Daily Download, a production of WRAL News. Check out my new true crime podcast, The Killing Month, August 1978, details the investigation into serial murders carried out by a band of outlaw brothers in Pennsylvania. Episodes 1 through 5 are available now. Find the show wherever you get your podcasts. As always, thanks for listening.